right, today I'm going to talk to you about how to develop your active listening skills so that you can become a leader and a manager, supervisor, whatever the case for you, who actually listens and who people actually want to talk to. All right, so I have a 3-step system for teaching you how to become a better active listener. The first part is your mindset. The second part is learning the right strategies to listen. And the third is really building on it to understand the nuance of what is being said. Let's dive right into it, starting with number one, your mindset. Before you become a good active listener, you first need to do the inner work to work through your triggers to bring you to a place of being neutral and objective, to be willing and open to have conversations that might have triggered you in the past. Now, it's easy to have conversations that are light and fluffy and full of love and warmth. But what about those really important conversations that need to be had that are more negative, that are difficult for a reason, that many people by default shut down and shy away from? Doing the mindset work first to work through your own triggers will bring you to a place of neutrality where those difficult topics that you used to avoid in the past, you can now actually have the conversation for them. So not only can you talk about them, you give a safe space for others to bring that to you. You create that safe space for others to have that conversation with you where you can listen to them and validate them. And that is the first part of active listening. Without coming from a mindset of being open to wherever the conversation may go, be it positive or negative, without having that emotional capacity for it, you just won't be able to be a good active listener. Okay, so step two. Once you've worked on your mindset, now you can get into the strategies of developing your listening skills. Okay, so what strategies? Great question. What you want to do is you really want to work on treating the conversation like an important conversation. What do most people do? It's a topic they don't want to listen about. They tap out mentally. They get distracted. They pull out their phone. They do something else. All of those are cues to the other person that you are not a good person to have that conversation with. And if, maybe out of necessity, if you're the leader, if you're the supervisor, if they need to have that conversation with you and they don't feel like they're able to, well, that's going to lead to problems. Okay? So you really want to treat them like you have the time for them and you have the time for that conversation. If perhaps you don't, if you're talking to someone who's a notorious rambler who talks in circles, treat the conversation with a timer. So set the context for the conversation and let them know from the get-go. All right, fantastic. I'd love to speak with you, but just to let you know, I've got to run in 10 minutes. Or just to let you know, I've only got about 15 minutes or so to speak. And that way, by setting the framing of, hey, I've only got 15 minutes or so, if the conversation is going well, you have the freedom to continue it. If it's not, if you're getting emotional, if you're getting bored, if you're tapping out mentally, well, at least you have the backup of saying, hey, I'm so sorry, the 15 minutes is up. I really got to run, but perhaps we can reschedule this for another time. And then you can work on some strategies to get you to a better place for the next time. Okay? Another strategy that you want to start working on is learning how to listen without interrupting. You don't want to be a know-it-all. Okay? You don't know where the conversation is going. You don't know what the other person is thinking, even if you think you do. That's where people tend to interrupt, interject, provide their suggestions, cut you off and tell you what they think, and we don't want to do that. Okay? So you want to train yourself to listen and to listen to the full story, let the person finish their train of thought without interrupting with what you think they were going to say. Okay? The third strategy I would like you to work on is learning to paraphrase what the other person said. You want to paraphrase it, not parrot it. This is a really great way to show them that you were listening. It's also a really good way for them to clarify any miscommunication. So let's say they're telling you about this frustrating experience that they had, and you are picking up on the completely wrong parts of the story, well, by paraphrasing what you think is important, it's a great way for them to clarify what is important to them. And when they do that, take note of it because it's a very good indication of what matters to them. And you need to understand what matters to them in order to be able to address the conversation effectively. If something is important to them and you're just not acknowledging it at all, the conversation won't end well. Okay? So if you're a leader and you have a team member coming to you and it's important for them to share that the project that they're working with isn't going well, they're struggling with this project and they don't think they're going to meet the deadline on top, and you don't acknowledge any of that, you just say, oh, this project isn't that hard. Oh, you should be done, within a few hours. Oh, it's fine. You've got this. You've got this. You're diminishing them and you're diminishing the experience that they're having. So really understanding what they're saying, paraphrasing it back to them, and picking up on what they're saying to you that's important to them is what's going to help you develop that really good listening skills to be able to pick out what is important and what matters so that you can address it effectively and accordingly. Okay? Now, part number 3. So, number 1, you've worked on your mindset. Number 2, you're working on your strategies of listening. Number 3, you're now going to work on picking up on the nuance of what is being said to you. That means picking up on the changes in someone's facial expressions, their body language, their tone of voice, so that you understand the deeper meaning of what isn't being said, rather than just focusing solely on what they're saying word-wise. Okay? So you really want to get good at picking up patterns, changes in behavior, changes in tone, changes in word choice, to get a good sense of the underlying feelings and the underlying perspective that they're having. Okay? So if someone tends to be happy and bubbly and all of a sudden their tone shifts, well, that is important for you to pick up on. Okay? If they are telling you that project is going fine and they should be done on time and everything's okay, but they look very worried and their body language is showing uncertainty, you need to be able to pick up on that, because you need to be able to listen to what they're saying to you with their nonverbal cues, in addition to what they're saying with their word choice. Okay? So start working on these 3 things. Once you put them all together, you'll see that your listening skills are improving tremendously. But all 3 build upon each other, and without all 3, it's very hard to develop really good active listening skills. Okay? And as a leader, your team is relying on you, so this is worth investing your time into. Now, I do have an upcoming masterclass all about deep diving into active listening skills. Depending on when you watch this recording, I'll have the replay available, so check the description for more details. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.